body. I am sorry that I am late. You know how it be. Morning hustle with the fam. That's priority. That is definitely priority. So I'm on a little bit later, but it's all good, right? You can catch this on the replay if you miss this right now. So it's interesting, like I said, and my YouTube content has been gravely suppressed. I don't know if the Democratic Party is really kind of following through with their censorship of people. Good morning, Brian. I see you. I don't know if the Democratic Party they're in their feelings across these social media platforms, these private companies that bet on Kamala big time. They lost, and so now they're taking it out on their content creators algorithmically, because I just noticed that I am just not getting any type of traction on my content at all post election. So it is very interesting to see how some of these private companies are also in their feelings reacting to this election. It's not just the liberal base that is freaking out, it is also these companies and corporations too. And I think that, in some kind of form, we live in an age of election results, retaliation. Like, we live in a very retaliation society. And I think that a lot of companies have become so beholden to the federal government, side chicks to the federal government, that they're willing to compromise the quality, integrity, and even trust of their products to play these corporate side chick roles for the government or whatever lobbyists are infiltrated in the government, telling them, we don't care about the quality of your product. Just make sure you suppress speech. Because again, the United States is one of those nations where the World Economic Forum, they are always talking about our Constitution. They are always talking about the First Amendment. It is a problem for people who want to control narratives. It is a problem for people who want to run propaganda machines, because while they're spewing out lies and things that just don't make sense to pattern facts, normal people are able to step back and look at some of the stuff that they're saying, and it's like, and we're challenging it. We're challenging the lies. We're challenging the deceptions, and they don't like stuff like that. So what they do is they come and they suppress their content creators. So this is a trend of YouTube. This is a pattern of YouTube. So this is just something that people are just going to have to deal with. So again, if you missed the notification of this live stream, if you missed this live stream, you're welcome to catch it on the replay. All right. But it said, yep, you said just like we've drawn up. I mean, people are revolting against these systems. I mean, when you look at the outcome of the 2024 election, to me, they want to make it all about America wasn't ready to vote for a black woman. We just weren't ready to vote for a black woman. But it wasn't even about that. It was, again, Kamala Harris was just thrown into the ring. They went into overdrive trying to prop her as a likable candidate, but at the same time they were puppeting her all kinds of different ways. So we really didn't know what we were getting, right? She came off as a puppet. And the Democrats have nothing but themselves to blame for that. But then the reaction to this election and people making it about women and men being against women and all of this radical stuff, and even down to the revelation of how racist the base in the Democratic Party really is. And I think a lot of it is, yeah, you can blame that on Kamala Harris, but you also got to look at the Democratic machine itself, how they chose to talk at certain groups of people during the election cycle, how they chose to target certain groups like Black Americans. You decide to target us using stereotypes, whores, you can find an amicable, polished black woman to present to black people to convince them that Kamala was a good choice for us. No, you went and you got all these whores and all these weird ass people to try to endorse Kamala Harris that nobody resonated with. Like, for some reason, the Democrats really do believe that their little machine of celebrities, are somebody that everybody across the country revere. And it's not true. Most people don't give a damn about these celebrities anymore, especially in the age of Epstein and Diddy. It's like, I mean, a lot of people are looking at celebrities in Hollywood now as like pedophile weirdosville. I don't know anybody that really reveres celebrities these days. And that is, and even down to these musicians. And that's the indication by how you got all these record labels that are struggling. They are laying people off because nobody cares about their propped up shelf life artists anymore. And even down to a Beyonce, don't nobody, the black community don't really care about Beyonce, to the degree that we're going to make voting decisions based off of her representing a candidate. It's like they sat up there and wasted a crap ton of money doing all the wrong things, all the wrong stereotypical things. And now they want to get mad and start blaming the voters, blaming people. And what I really don't like is how the Democratic Party, like I said, they push all this anti-racism stuff. They're always quick to point the finger and call somebody anti this and racist this, right? But they are the main ones, you know, underneath their surface who are riddled with bigotry. So before I get started, I just want to play this clip from Brother Malcolm X because a lot of people, they analyze Malcolm, they analyze Malcolm X's statements. They call him a bigot. They call him an anti this, anti that. Malcolm X was just calling it the way that he saw it. He really was. And, to the point of Kamala Harris being a puppet of the Democrats, this really is nothing new. Like, people don't just internalize that to Kamala Harris. She is just one of many. So let's talk about them. Let's let Brother Malcolm, rest in peace, tell us about them.
These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals.
And that's just cold facts. I mean, this is not a new observation. And how the Democratic Party, they leverage these blackface looking people so that they can convince black people to make decisions. This is not anything new. This is a pattern observation. And the problem with black people allowing Democrats to play like they're, let's let Brother Malcolm tell you how they fake as hell.
A friend, I think, are two different things. I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly. And therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
So, and I'm going to let him finish because I feel like the fox and the lamb, this is a symbolism of these political parties.
I'd like to point out, though, that I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. And see, with these white liberals, due to his point is they will pose as a friend to black people. And the minute black people don't comply or do something that they think that we should be doing, right? then their racism come out. So I want you guys to listen to this white liberal woman fixing her lips, right? Fixing her lips. Now, this would be the same woman before Kamala lost that was just all up on black people. Yes, it's blah, 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 trying to convince us of some dumb stuff, right? Now that Kamala lost, now she has the audacity, and I've heard quite a few white liberals get on the mic post election with the audacity to even address black people. Like we're not your slaves. We don't belong to you. Half of us don't even like y'all.
Yeah, got any show for y'all.
And this is the Hodge twins covering this lady. And, I want to actually, because it's interesting. I want to play this, and this is just going to be a fair usage thing because I don't want the Hodge twins to be haters and copyright my content. But there's a lot of this little show that they did, the white tech and media CEO says the unthinkable about blacks and Latinos. Now, mind you, the Hodge twins, they themselves specialize in getting their conservative brownie points, dogging blacks and Latinos, narrating blacks and Latinos in a very interesting way, specifically blacks. But in here, the contradiction, and this is why I call these people double talking demons, a lot of these people, because here they are throwing shade and calling this liberal white woman basically racist for the things that she's saying to black men who did not vote for Kamala Harris. So let me get to this woman, and she's just mad comfortable. These white liberal women, they get comfortable in their emotions, and they think because they've acted like a friend to black people that they can just say anything they want to us. So where's she at? Let's
voting for Trump.
hang on. Let me let this go through.
Hate seeing ads? Here.
It's so funny when I see an anti-ad ad. Hang on.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Yo,
Let's do
watch
it.
this.
I have a message for all those black and Latino men who ended up voting for Trump. You should have listened to Obama. You put a collar around your own necks. And I hate to be the one to break it to you.
She's reading.
She's saying that you put a collar around your own necks. Now, mind you, Trump didn't put a collar around anybody's necks the first damn time at all. Matter of fact, there are a lot of black people who had a perception of economic empowerment, and they felt a lot happier, a lot secure. Anybody was running around feeling like a slave or had a collar around their neck, right? So here her dumbass is talking to black men and Latino men and talking about you should have listened to Obama punk ass.
But you are never going to be welcome into the old boys white man's club.
And she's assuming that they voted for Trump for that very reason. I mean, and this is the crazy thing. This is the narrative that these passionately ignorant liberal white people, they have on their brain. Like, how could you want to leave our plantation? How could you want to take our chains around your neck? Our chains of psychological manipulation and thought. We told you who to listen to. We gave you the Negro beacon for you to listen to. It's called Barack Obama. And Negroes wasn't listening to no Obama this time.
It just ain't going to happen. Good luck.
So let's go back and listen to what this passionately ignorant, blonde-haired, white ignorant woman is calling herself, addressing to black and Latino men. And this is, again, what Malcolm X is saying. These people pose you as their friends, right? Brother Malcolm told us about these people, and now they're telling us about them, their own selves. They are, let me tell you, the most racist people in my lifetime that I have ever encountered have been liberal white people. They are the most undercover racist people. This is why they can facilitate all this unconscious bias and white fragility training, all that shit, because they know it so well. They know it so well. This is the mental illness of a lot of these people, that they're coping with their inclinations by putting their shit on other people. right? And all the while, they are riddled with the very thing that they're trying to train other people to get out of themselves. This is the mental illness of these people. So she can't say shit to black people, really.
I have a message for all those black and Latino men who ended up voting for Trump. You should have listened to Obama. You put a collar around your own necks. And I hate to be the one to
And let me
break it to
say,
you.
this is the first thing that a lot of these liberal people think about when they want to put fear strategies on black people, right? The first thing they want to fix their mouths to say is, you're going to be a slave. You're going to be a slave. Right? You're going to have chains around you. Joe Biden said that they want to put y'all back in chains. This is the first thing they think about when they're having conversations with black people, right? Because this is on their mind. This is how they like to keep black people pressed and afraid, right? So that they can stay aligned with this idea of a Democratic friend who's going to help protect them and ally for them. Meanwhile, the first minute that these Negroes get out of line, they want to remind the Negro of where they came from. Democrats are good with reminding the black American Negro of where he came from. This is their way of maintaining their own white supremacy in the culture. Is to constantly remind the American Negro of where he's come from. Don't y'all think that it's odd that every time there is a hot political cycle, most time, you got the Democratic Hollywood machine coming out with an old slave and Negro film, right, to get the Negroes all, oh, this is your history. No, these people are reminding you of where your people came from and what place in society they would like for your people to stay in. And they're going to do everything they can in their power, their creative power, their media power to do that. And even if that means doing exactly what Brother Malcolm said, which is leveraging your own damn people to maintain it, they'll do it.
These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community.
Kamala
by
was a
white
parrot.
liberals. You can't
Barack was a parrot.
A Negro leader who has betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals. But being friendly and being a friend, I think, are two different things. I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate.
Right.
The wolf doesn't act friendly. And therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
In this scenario, the fox is the Democrats. The fox is the Democrats because they're slick, they're deceptive, they're sly, right? The wolf is more the Republicans, right? Because they've never had an overt interest in marginalizing black people, disenfranchising black people, helping black people. They've never had just an overt pattern of interest like that throughout the generations, right? And that's the thing. Black people, like, my thing is, I would rather for a political party not pay attention to Negroes and not have any express interest in demonizing them, stereotyping them, or any of that stuff, versus some that want to act like they're your friend, but meanwhile they're narrating your people, creating images of your culture for the world to see that stigmatizes your people, marginalizes them, and make people think that they are the lowest denominator people, in this nation. Right? That's what the Democrats do. And I'm sorry, they find the lowliest little black people that meet the stereotype of black people to prop up. Because intelligent black people are threats to the Democratic Party. They truly are. If you cannot be puppeted by them, you are a threat to them. They don't want to have anything to do with you. That is how the Democrats work with black people, right? And we've made this stuff we made these people mad comfortable. And again, they're going to pick their props, okay? They're going to pick their props, right? And they're going to have, them come on the mic and make everything about color and America is not ready for X, Y, and Z. It's like, really, America is tired of the Democrats. And they're like, honestly, no matter what color their puppet is at this point, we're tired of them. And I said this before. I actually felt bad for Kamala Harris because y'all go back and look at my commentary. I was saying they were puppeting her the entire way. We never got anything authentic from her. Even people from her campaign staff was saying that she could not run her campaign because the Democratic machine was basically puppeting her the entire damn way. It is their fault that she lost because they puppeted her ass that damn hard. And this is really nothing personal against Kamala Harris because I actually felt bad for her. If anybody who followed this content, they know I've even said, I feel bad for her. It sucks to be a puppet. It sucks to be a puppet. And they weren't even thinking about logically that if you are running a 4-month campaign in which you have just basically threw a candidate onto the people, you got to actually let that candidate be as authentic and themselves as they possibly can because you really don't have time for puppetry. Really, that campaign has zero time for anybody to be puppeting Kamala. They should have been able to just put her on the table and let her just freestyle it. But they had her little earrings, telling her ass what to say, helping her in an oopsie moment. She looked like it was like watching a crash test dummy. It was just watching a political crash test dummy, and the outcome was disastrous. I mean, Trump basically crashed into her all over the damn country, even flipping some blue states red. How the hell did that happen? Right? But this is a result of puppetry. And so when we go and we listen to these white liberal people talk at black people with the audacity, right? We already know deep inside when they talk about unconscious bias, when they want to talk about white fragility, and that's the liberals. They're putting their shit on all the white people in society. But we need to be very specific about a lot of this white fragility and all of this stuff. I've said this before. I would rather deal with a racist white person who is overtly racist, right? Know where this person is coming from. They are their authentic racist self versus an undercover fox who wants to pretend like they're my friend, and all the time they think significantly lower than me. It's like everybody goes with the devil that they know. I'm going to deal with this racist motherfucker all day, right? I really am. Because at least I know where you're coming from. And if you're dealing with me, obviously we have been able to get past something to just get business done. And you can still carry on with your racist behind. But at the end of the day, Democrats are fake as hell, and this is how they
around
really
your
think.
own necks. And I
They
hate to be
think
the
of
one to break it.
slavery automatically. They didn't. She's not saying black men. You voted against Kamala. It's like I don't understand why you guys are voting against a perception of somebody from your community. She's not trying to no. She's like you're gonna have chains and listen to
Break
this
it to you.
broad.
She's reading it.
But you are never going to be welcome into the old boys white man's club. It just ain't going to happen. Good luck.
Right, and she knows this so well because probably some of the men in her circle are part of that old boys white men's club that don't want to let black men in unless they get on their knees and they can buck break them. Like, that's how really liberal whites, you can tell by the way they got Diddy running around, buck breaking people, Epstein running around, buck breaking people, right? Like, honestly, black men, you don't want to be in the old white man's club. You really don't want to be in, especially the old liberal white man's club. That club is probably full of pedophiles. So, count your blessings that they don't want you a part of it. This woman don't even know what she's talking about. She thinks that you guys voted for Trump because you want to be in the old white man's club. And it's like, girl, bye.
She's reading it.
But you are never going to be welcome into the old boys white man's club.
And she knows that for a fact.
Happen.
She knows it for a fact, guys. She's saying good luck. Because the white men in her family are part of that old white guys club that hate black men and want to see black men looking inferior and less than them, right? She knows it so well. So listen to these liberals as they rant about this election, right? Because it's going to reveal so much who the real racists are in this nation, right? All you got to do is actually put a black woman on the table, right? And let people, or a black looking woman, ambiguous woman, if you will, like Kamala, on a table, see how they leverage her. See how they leverage her. And when you don't bite the bait, see how they turn on your ass. See how they turn on your ass. See how they talk to your ass, right? So the last thing I got teed up is, I guess, the New York Times, right? They're on their cope again. They got Erica L. Green. She's a New York Times White House correspondent, and she's explaining what her emotions are about Kamala losing. And look, I understand that the Democrats place a significance on Kamala Harris, right? Because they really were trying to make another beacon, right? They wanted, Kamala to be like, you know how Barack Obama, like for some liberals, he's like Uncle Barack, right? You know how they be making uncles and aunties and stuff like that. They really wanted to prop Kamala Harris like they did Barack Obama so that they could leverage Kamala Harris in the future if she won, like they've been able to leverage Barack Obama. Notice we don't hear shit from Obama most time. I don't even know if the brother is still breathing until the Democrats have a candidate of color or something else on a ticket that's not doing so well. Then they need the black vote to really bring this candidate home. Then they bring out Barack and Michelle, right? Give them some coins, some tokens, so that they go talk to the Negroes about why they should make this choice that favors the Democratic Party, right? Trying to keep black folks in line. That's why they have all these black symbolism organizations and hubs. And when you really look at the board of directors and all that stuff, the chairmans of a lot of these NAACP, HBCUs, they're Jewish, white men, Democrats. All right? Let's keep it all the way real. Let's keep it all the way real. And this is why, when something is going on over here, they're like, black people, you got to be on board with this struggle class because you're a struggle class too. You're one of ours. Our plantation is comprised of struggle class people. Right? So you have to be down with the struggle. This is a herd mentality on this plantation. So they grouping everybody's struggle together and making them to comply. So black people have been deceived, manipulated, bought out, sold out, just like America. And I think, this election to me was more frightening for the Democrats that once upon a time they had a reliable black base that would not swing Republican because they were successfully indoctrinated with their critical theories and idealisms about how Republicans are for the rich white men and the Democrats are for the poor black man. But then under the Trump administration, a lot of black people were able to see where their economic empowerment lied between a Republican administration and a Democrat administration. And a lot of people didn't care about the ideologues. They cared about their money more than anything. And all of these money hungry looters in the government and in these parties should be able to relate to that, because a lot of you guys are gouging most of it at the top. She's talking about so you can get your crumbs. It's like, well, at least under Trump, a lot of people felt like their crumbs were a little bit more than they were under a Biden Harris. And considering that Kamala Harris's campaign blew over $1 billion in 4 months on a bag of garbage, I think that America really made the right choice, considering our economic state right now. We can't really trust people who can't even run a campaign. You blew through $1 billion and you still get swept across the damn nation by a fascist, a felon. And it's like Trump wasn't a felon in 2016. Y'all tagged this felony tag so that y'all can get into the consciousness of people. You're going to vote for a felon? You're going to vote? All of them are felons in my mind. All of them are felons. It's like the teapot calling the kettle black. It's just that they're coordinated enough not to have the title. They're coordinated enough to make sure that they put that title of somebody that they want to take down. Right? Shout out to Eric Adams. He was probably doing a very happy dance when Trump won, because he was like, Trump won. All the food programs, assistance programs for the migrant is done. It's done. And I dare you Democrats to come after me, because big man Trump is back in the office. My dude Trump, what's up, dog? You back in? Eric Adams was like, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Right? But anyways, shout out to Eric Adams out there. We know they out there coordinating against you, brother. We know. That man needs to come out of the closet and just be a Republican and stop flipping back to them Democrats. This man left the Democratic Party in 1997 in protest about how their policies, how they were doing things. Smart black man with convictions. Like, y'all going the opposite way. Y'all just fluffing to the folks. Eric Adams left in 1997, right? He did not become a Democrat again until literally, 2020, 2022, when he was running on a Democratic platform, right? Eric, be true to yourself, brother. You are not a Democrat. You are not a Democrat. You are a Republican black man, all right? And if you are just a man that is so inclined to have party allegiance, bro, I do recommend you just go ahead and just be who you are, be who you are. But all right, racism is a thought. Racism is a thought, but it's also a thought that it has been ingrained in people. In order for an individual to be successfully racist, you have to plant seeds in them. And a lot of times those seeds have to be planted at a very early age. So in the cases of many people in America, our children are programmed to be racist. Why? Because they are insistent upon having Black history taught in balance to any other groups of history throughout the K-12 system, predominantly executed by white liberals with silent bigotry. And because they're counting on all Black parents not to be involved or anything like that, you don't have a lot of Black parents checking them on the fact that I don't want white liberals teaching my kids their tribal lessons in school. And so I take a proactive approach with my kids' teachers, because we do live in a liberal district. They do got money. Let's just say it. They do got the money too, right? But it's one of those things where I just say, hey, look, I know this is part of your curriculum. I know you're going to have to deliver these lessons to my kids, but I'm going to tell you what you're teaching my kids is not what I teach my kids at home. And I will be usurping these lessons. So tell me how you want to go about doing this, whatever. If like they'll learn enough to be dangerous to pass your test, but anything that you tell them that's contrary to cold facts of history and logic, it's not going to be received by my kids. I'm going to have them dump it right out of their brains and tell them why it doesn't make any sense. And they're getting it from a white liberal perspective. And that's not what we want our kids to have. We don't want them having a perspective of their Black history, from some Black faces that can be leveraged by white liberals. So, anyways, you said stop using the race card. You need to tell the Democrats that, honey. America is really racist because they won't stop using the race card and leveraging the races against each other. And that's another thing. They will literally put their shit on other people. And for the illogical conservatives, you see how they're leveraging the race card. So don't come up telling people stop talking about race. We can't stop talking about race. A lot of us are having to defend illogical. We're having to refute illogical positions on race. So, I wish we could stop talking about race, but this country was founded on racial separatist ideologies, and it just festered. White Americans, y'all didn't get a hold of it. Y'all let the Democrats come in and infiltrate this nation of what it could have been, right? So, everybody's at fault for why this is a racially charged nation and how race is constantly always being leveraged in this nation. So let's just keep it real. We need to start talking about things in the right context, and maybe we can get past some of these conversations, because at the end of the day, if you are an American, you are an American. I mean, if you were born on this soil, right? Like, the tie that binds you, no matter what you look like, is that you are an American. You were born on this soil. You didn't immigrate here, or you've had generations of people here. That's the tie that binds a lot of people. Even down to slavery, right? The one thing that people need to always give Black American freemen our flowers is that we didn't flee this nation. A lot of us did not immigrate out of America. We did not go back to some idea of a culture. This was our culture. This was our legacy. This was our national identity. And this is why a lot of Black Americans don't want to be called Africans, because that's not our lineage. That's not our nationality. We are Americans. So, I think that we need to get back to some real social psychology. I've actually grappled with going back to school, and I really hate school. Like, it's not, I always do well in school. Like, that's not the issue. It's not that I'm an unteachable person. I just can't sit back listening to somebody teach me something that I've already observed and I've already had firm conviction, and now I'm just suffering through reiteration and redundancies. My brain can't process like that. I will be like that ADD kid that just checks out because I already know this information, and I'm having to suffer through having to relearn it, and, in a way that, it doesn't even make any sense to me. So, but social psychology, I think, is a study that we need to revisit seriously, not from the lens of any type of manipulation, right? Because I think when you start really understanding people and segments in this country, and I feel like we all can be social psychologists without ever going to a school. All you got to do is just sit back, observe the patterns of people and groups, and you kind of see how people rock. You know what I mean? But I want to get to this sister real quick to end this live stream, right? Because she's talking about her feelings about Kamala Harris losing. And I mean, I understand that she's concluded that this is about, America not being ready for a woman to look like Kamala Harris. But let me tell you this, and I will say this. On the conservative side, those people that voted for Trump, who they were also saying that they would vote for? Candace Owens. Those white Trumpers, those people who follow Candace Owens, and I wouldn't vote for Candace Owens ever, never, ever, ever. But you had the same people that these people are narrating as being racist. These are the same people like, I vote for Candace Owens. I vote for Candace Owens. A brown-skinned, black-looking American woman, these bigots are saying that they would prefer a Candace Owens over a Kamala Harris. So I don't think it was really about people not really in their brains being ready for a black woman to lead, but I think that a Candace Owens would have probably did much better than a Kamala Harris if she was on the ticket versus Kamala for a variety of different reasons.
Harris formally accepted her loss to President-elect Donald Trump. She defended her campaign as a fight for democracy and emphasized a peaceful transfer of power. But there was one moment that stood out to me.
Don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
The crowd was clearly emotional. Had she been victorious, it would have meant the first woman, the first black woman, the first South Asian woman to hold the office. Within hours of the vice president announcing that she...
And honestly, none of those things would have meant too much to the American economy unless globally there was a market for women. I mean, I really don't understand why any of that made sense, because economically people aren't buying into that. Those aren't things that really empower anybody, but some fantasy, some group that just has a beacon now because maybe she would have been elected on those premises. None of those things ever matter. And this is the sad thing about how they program people.
After President Biden dropped out of the race, it was black women who rallied to raise more than $1 million for her campaign.
No, but it was really Wall Street that rallied for Kamala Harris and a couple of other private people who really wanted Kamala Harris to be selected because she was just a really good person to puppet, right? And she wasn't hard on the eyes, right? She's older now; she's almost 60, but she's not a bad looking woman.
Black women were elated, but underneath,
but she didn't have the sister sauce, though. She did not have the sister sauce. She did not have the juice. She just did not have the juice.
Was America,
when you're dealing with a foundational black American woman, Freeman, versus one of these immigrant broads, because you're just not going. You're not. You got to pick your fighters here. All right, you got to pick your fighters. Black women, we get a bad reputation for being, aggressive. We're lionesses. But there's a reason why we're like that. You got to pick your fighters, right? A lot of these immigrant people can be puppeted. Black Americans, we can't be puppeted. You know what I mean? Like that. So, the cope game is real for a lot of these people. I pray for everybody. I pray that a lot of people get that hate out of their heart, that racism, that undercover racism out of that heart, because it's never going to benefit you. It's never going to benefit you, right? And to these Democrats who are letting out their inner racists, we see you. We see you. When you're talking to black men, Hispanic men, talking about ropes and chains and slavery, that's on your consciousness. You think of these men as slaves. You think of these men as people that are supposed to do what you want them to do, buy into your little puppets. And these brothers are saying, no. We're going to think on our own accord. We're not going to follow, your little yellow brick road of economic destruction anymore. We ain't trying to do that. We're trying to feed our families. We're trying to see what opportunities can come back. And that's why Trump talking about tariffs, they thinking about their jobs coming back, because they like, oh, it's going to force manufacturing to come back to the United States and we might have some localized jobs. They ain't thinking about all that other stuff. All right. So you guys, thanks for hanging out this morning. I see you, Info Warrior, in the house. My mods, shout out to my mods. And I see Info Warrior up in here. Which one of my mods is in here today? I can't scroll with all these comments, but any of my mods in the house, shout out to you. You said I'm ignorant. No, I'm not ignorant. I'm practical, honey. I look at the patterns of things in life as it is. You're on a bandwagon of ignorance because you're probably in your feelings about something. And that's your business, not mine. All right. You don't understand a tariff, honey. I did a whole video on it. You need me not to understand a tariff because your education system dumbed down America, and you think that it was effective on all people, but not this person. Did a whole damn video on tariffs, honey. I did a whole video on them. You just need to check it out and stop being so damn presumptuous, right? Because your inner bigot is looking at a black woman and you thinking that I don't know what I'm saying. So go take your little ignorant ass on somewhere and check out my video on tariffs. I'm making a lot of sense. Trump's position on tariffs, again, is an aggressive rollback of NAFTA. All right? These people sold our damn country out. They sold our damn country out. And Trump is like, no more of that. If you are not producing your goods in the United States, then if you sell them, you're going to get a tax, right? I don't believe in 200% tariffs, but if we got to play games, we got to play games with these people. There's a lot of people mad about tariffs because they have been a part of the machine that have been selling out American jobs overseas. So all you people can go kick some damn rocks. I know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not going to undermine my intelligence because you're passionately ignorant. Get off my line. Anyways, for my intelligent folks who ready for their jobs to come back to America, right? We understand what tariffs can do. We understand how tariffs can be leveraged as an economic bargaining tool. We know this. They mad because they sold out our damn company, our country with these zero taxes while these people selling shit on our land. Idiots. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye. Oh, and sorry, hit the like button and subscribe. I don't know. I'm being suppressed again. I guess it's post-election, and maybe they feel like content creators like me is the reason why Kamala lost. They love putting their shit on other people. So just hit that subscribe button so I can get bumped up in the algorithm and you can actually see my content. Because, again, I did a live stream. Usually I have about 20,000 people. I only got 100 people yesterday. I'm like, okay, YouTube is playing with me. I see what y'all doing there. But thanks so much for rocking with me. We are going to keep common sense great again. We are bringing common sense back into the damn union. And if common sense irritates the demon in your soul, get off my line. Stay off my line. This channel is for folks like that. You guys be blessed. Remember, love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not abuse or disrespect yourself, do not abuse or disrespect your neighbors. Bye.